We caught a little bit that last class, right? When we said that he does too much.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, if Brandon here is telling you to stand up, right? Then you stand up too much.
Yeah, man, this.
Right.
Kind of this one, yeah.
But you see, it's very doable, right? So, and then it's also, I can do it with anybody. I can do it with any partner. Right? Because then when I'm dealing with Eva or Ava?
Ava.
See, what is this? It's Eva if you're from the Americas, and it's Ava if you're from Europe, right?
I think so.
Ava Gabor. Remember Ava Gabor? You know Ava Gabor?
Mm-hmm.
They were the Gabor sisters. They were famous. They lived in Beverly Hills. They were very, but they were Hungarian, right? That was Ava. Okay, but you're Eva.
Ava.
Oh, you're Ava.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Ava. So you're from Europe.
Well, it's because of my Russian friend.
Oh, that's right. See, Ava. Is it Ava in Russia? It's Ava.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeva.
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 Yeva. Yeah, so it's close to Yeva.
About
But like Latin America, it's Eva.
Eva.
Yeah.
Eva. Eva Perón, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, Eva Perón. So, okay, good. So, yes, Ava. Okay, but for Ava, so now if Ava tells you something, now, obviously we have buffers, right? We don't, it's not in terms of our you know, our thinking, is that, and people have told you, like, don't do that, right? People usually, as we get older, you know, and so we learn to kind of buffer it, but the urge is still there, right? The impulse is still there. So if you were talking to, let's see, I'm going to get it wrong, Ava, right? I mean, you might start to do it too much, and then you could censor yourself, right? But it's still there. And very often, you know, you can use your own self, because supposedly the idea is that you know yourself better than any other character, right? So that you can explore it with yourself, and then you can figure out how to apply it to another character. Very often it goes all the way back to your childhood. It goes usually in terms of, and you ask yourself, you know, and you keep asking yourself, well, why do I act like this? Why do I behave like this? Why? And every time you answer it, you keep answering it, that question, why, until you go back all the way until something is acting upon you. Right? So if we think of like, so does everybody know Hamlet? Do you know this story, Hamlet? Olga?
I forgot the story, but they know.
You know the name? Do you know? Can somebody tell her the story really fast? The story of Hamlet.
Everybody's dead.
At the end, right? Everybody's dead. He's the Prince of Denmark. So we're talking about monarchies, right? Monarch. So again, remember how I like to work? I say, so what do you know about a monarchy? You know anything about monarchs? You know about kings and queens? Okay. How does power pass in kings and queens? Children. Which children though? Can any child become king? Or queen? The oldest. The oldest boy, right? So can the uncle become the king? Can the king's brother become the king?
If this person dies.
It depends.
Depends, right? That's what Hamlet's about. It's called the royal question. I mean, that's what they called it, the royal question. How is power passed? And if the king dies, can the brother become the king? And in this case, the brother is the one who killed the king, so that he could become. But the king had a son who was supposed to be, right, king. Okay, so that's how it's passed. Okay. So what does Hamlet do? If you were a prince? Think. I don't know. What would that make you do most in your life? What would that be like?
Enjoy my life.
Enjoy. Okay, playboy, which is actually yes, he was a playboy, right? He had a lot of money, and so when it happened, he was away at college. You know, he was in Germany when this murder happened, right? And so then you think, if you're a playboy, and then you get the news that your father is dead. Well, what you've been told your whole life is that when your father dies, you become king, right? But then you hear, oh no, guess what? Your uncle is now saying that he's king. And by the way, your mother has also married your uncle. Right? Okay, so now, here's Hamlet. We're all Hamlet, right? What do we think? Yeah. Right. That's exactly, yeah. It's all politics, right? But let's go back though further. So what's being acted upon him? Is this sense of duty? I don't know. Was he told since he's a little kid? What were they always saying to him? He says, I want to go out and I want to go out hunting. What did they say to him? Can you just go out hunting?
No, it's too dangerous.
Too dangerous. So they said, okay, so if you go hunting, you have to do what?
Kill.
Somebody else has to go with you. You have to, right? There's like this big kind of thing, whatever. So do you ever get to be alone?
No.
You're too important person.
So if you're too important, so what does that make us? So you see what I'm saying? So what how would that make us then? What do we start to want? What do we want to? What do we start to do?
To defend myself. Defend myself. To keep safety.
Be selfish.
Surround myself a lot of people who's loyal to me.
Okay. Or do you want? Or is your dream to be alone?
No.
No, your dream isn't to like because everybody's telling you could never be alone.
No, sometimes you need to be alone.
But sometimes you need to be alone. So where is this? Do you see what I'm saying? So it could be so maybe he's always trying to be alone. Or maybe he's always trying to act on his own. Because instead of everybody's telling him, no, you can't, you have to be the king. You know Queen Elizabeth? Do you remember this famous Queen Elizabeth? Do you know how she used to talk about herself? What did she call herself? I don't know. Did she say, oh, just call me Liz? She's the Queen of England, right? She called herself England. She said, I'm England. So what's it like to be, what would it be like to be England? Excuse me. It's like, I own England. It's like, so he owns Denmark, right? So obviously there's all this culture and there's all this training and things like that, right? So now go back into your own lives now. Let me think now. What do you do in your own life?
What do you mean, physically or?
Physically, it's probably physical. I share with me. I do, and this is probably, and I'm a teacher, right? Is that I make sure that everything is equal. I make sure that I look at each of you, right? I mean, I like it when things are available. I like to make sure that things are equal. When I'm shooting in a production, I like to have a blank space. I like to make sure, I like to know where the power is, right? I like to know where the lights are. I like everything, it all has to be equal. Now, where did that come from? This is where we like. No. When I was in second grade, they told me that I said I was going to be an actor. How or why? I mean, I didn't know anything. This is way back. This is like in the early 1960s. I mean, it's like, we had Disney, but it's like, I don't even think I'd gone to see a movie yet. We had television, black and white television, but why? I mean, actor, why? So, yeah, Andre's like, I was the second child, so I have an older brother, right? So you can kind of like figure out. I don't know, you guys all have brothers and sisters? Yeah, that's good, because it's a lot of like, it's like, because that's life, right?
Yeah.
Good, it's life. Alright? I was also, this is very interesting, I was also supposed to be a girl. He's laughing. My parents were only going to have 2 children. My father